Yay! Okay, so November's over, it's time for wrap-ups. This is the video in which I talk a lot, and I talk about all the books that I read this month, and then I also tell you guys about my favorites, which I will list all the questions that I answer down below in case you want to answer them too. Basically all my favorites of the month and all that. I read 5 books this month, which seems to be the theme. I've read 5 books for a while now, but I can only count, like, I think 3 of them as actual novels. So that's pretty unfortunate. That's not as much as I have been doing, but I did write a bunch, not as much as everyone else. I only wrote 23,000 words, but I did write a lot in the beginning, and then my best friend came home for 10 days, and then I got school, then I got work. Just November, it was a killer. December will not be like that at all. I cannot wait to get back into reading. If you want to skip to the favorites in this video, because I know that my talking about the books is quite lengthy, I'm going to leave an annotation down below throughout the entire video in case you just want to skip to that. So, let us get on to the wrap-ups. The first book that I read this month, that would be The Shining by Stephen King. It was the first book that I read by Stephen King, and I was not disappointed one bit. It was absolutely incredible. Oh my god. I got to page about 500 and I stopped reading for a few days because I was so scared about what might happen. This book isn't as scary in text as it is psychologically. What it does to you psychologically is really scary. A book has never scared me as much as this did. It bugged me out, but the characters were absolutely phenomenal. Each one was so intelligent, and Stephen King had a lot of humor in it too, which shocked me. I loved reading about everyone. I loved reading about Jack when he wasn't going psycho, and I loved every backstory. Everything was great about this book. I just loved reading it. The fact that it had a happy ending made it an even better story, and it had such a well-rounded ending too. Everything that you thought would happen. Not to say that it was predictable, because it absolutely wasn't. I gave it 5 stars. If you guys know of any other Stephen King books that I should be reading, I know he has like a slew of books, please comment down below and tell me your favorites so I could get into reading more Stephen King, because this was absolutely wonderful. Next, found it. The next book that I read was No Hope for Gomez by Graham Park. I already did a review about this in video form. By the way, all the books that I'm talking about, they have GoodReads reviews as well that I, typed up. So if you would rather see the written review, you could always go down below and see any of those. But I did do a separate video review of this. I liked it. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It's definitely worth reading. Very, very quirky. That is the word for this book. So the next book that I read after No Hope for Gomez is Adolf in Wunderland. I didn't really know what to expect from this. Turns out I gave it a 4 out of 5. I really liked it. What I like most about it is it introduced me to an entire new genre called bizarro fiction, and I will be talking more about that in a separate video. However, it's not horrible. Basically just shock value on shock value on shock value, which I love. I love my shock value. It's just, you never know what's gonna happen next. You just don't. However, it is written wonderfully. It has some adult themes, so if you're not 18 or up, I wouldn't suggest it. Or if you're not in high school, I guess, or up, I wouldn't suggest it. There's so many different books in this genre that look so interesting, and I want to read them all. However, this one caught my eye the most because it is Adolf in Wonderland. I love everything Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland themes are absolutely wonderful. Whenever I see a different rendition of Alice in Wonderland, I automatically want to pick it up. So this was very interesting to me because a lot of the characters were relatable to the characters in Alice in Wonderland. It had a plot, it had a climax, it has a resolution, and that's more than I can say for a lot of books out there. So I gave it a 4 out of 5. Really good. I enjoyed it a lot. Next! Okay. Tree of Codes by Jonathan Safran Foer. I always say Foer. This is the book that's written in codes, like so. For those of you who don't know, this is not his book technically. One of the books that he loved the most was called Street of Crocodiles, and it's a classic that not a lot of people know about. I certainly didn't know about it. I have it on my book list to buy. He cut up a whole bunch of it and turned it into this book. It's a good thing that it is not his book because I really don't like Jonathan Safran Foer books at all. This was more like a work of art, and it was absolutely fantastic. I read it during a train ride. Some of the lines that he picked out of here were stunning. They were absolutely beautiful. It's something that you could read over and over again and not get tired of it because you could just keep reading it in a different view. It's all about death, long-term and short-term, what it means to other people, how it's going to affect other people. It says so much in so little writing. I'm glad that I have it on my bookshelf to keep and to look at all the time because it was so... There's so much to be said about this book. Absolutely wonderful. 5 out of 5 stars. The last book. Tiny Book of Tiny Stories. This is written by Joseph Gordon-Levitt and others from Hit Record, which is a production company, sort of. Hit Record is basically a website where a bunch of people contribute to a bunch of different things, therefore making a ton of different collaborations. They make collaborations of music, of art, of short films. They also make stories. This was so cute. It was the cutest thing. I read it in 10 minutes because they're such short stories. Like that, sort of. They're all so unique. A lot of these things are so clever, things that you don't normally think about. I'm looking forward to picking up the volume 2. It's right on my bed, and I'll probably be reading it tonight. Those were the books! And now for the favorites. I forgot what the questions are. Bear with me. So my favorite book of the month, I think I have 3 books that were 5 stars. I'm reading so many good books lately. The book that I would suggest reading is The Shining, without a doubt, because it was absolutely suspenseful and wonderful, fantastic, such a good read. And it's an actual novel in comparison to Tree of Codes or The Tiny Book of Tiny Stories, which I also gave 5 out of 5. These are just books of art, so if you're into artsy things, I would definitely suggest picking up these as well. Netflix View of the Month. Okay, 2 days ago I got into watching American Horror Story. I died. It's such a good show. It bugs me out so much. I never know what's gonna happen. So that's definitely like my Netflix View of the Month because the whole season's on there. Watch it. Favorite beverage to read with this month? I'm just gonna say plain old coffee. Who doesn't love a good cup of coffee? It has to be made within the first 10 minutes. If it's not made within the first 10 minutes, don't drink the coffee. Bad coffee. Coffee goes bad quick. You drink it fresh, best thing you will ever taste. Mug of the month. I collect novelty mugs for those of you who do not know. As you guys know, it was NaNoWriMo month, so I picked up this beautiful ceramic Camp NaNoWriMo mug, which I know it wasn't Camp NaNoWriMo. Camp NaNoWriMo happens within June and August of the years, but it says good to the last plot. It's absolutely awesome. It is the best mug to drink out of ever. Favorite stress relieving product. This month was too stressful and there was nothing to relieve that stress. Next question. Favorite song of the month. I've been thinking of this one all month actually. And the song of the month is going to be Beards by the Dodos. Shout out to all the great boys who grew great beards this month. That's it. That was the whole month. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me your favorite Stephen King novels down below. Answer the favorite questions down below. Tell me what you're reading. All that good stuff. I like talking to you guys. Talking is nice. I hope you had a great month. I hope everything's going well for you. And I will be seeing you within the next few days, most likely. Bye!